Welcome back, World Conquerors. Spaghetti. This is your host, Alakard, or Nick, and today we've got a Protoss vs. Protoss. Yes, a Protoss vs. Protoss. So, here we go. Let's get started. Bottom left in the red, we've got csalas. Looks like LLPS for the guild name. And then the bottom right, we've got myself, Alakard, and the blue Protoss. So, yeah, Protoss vs. Protoss. Interesting matchup. I mean, Zerg vs. Zerg starts out usually as a really aggressive match. And actually, Protoss vs. any race versus race seems to be super aggressive once the game starts. But I don't know. I've always noticed that, especially Zerg vs. Zerg. That's like the most intense matchup. I would say. But anyways, let's go with the build orders here. Myself, usually I would put my pylon right by my nexus to save, to get more mining time. But since I spent the extra couple seconds setting my probe up here, to put my pylon up here, I'm trying to do a wall off. And the reason for that is because of possible cannon rush. Cannon rushes. So like if a Protoss player put like a pylon, say like down here or here, like just early on snuck a probe in, put a pylon there, they could get into my base right here and then just simply put a cannon right here, and then they could start expanding with more pylons and everything. But they can't do that because I've got map vision. I can see when they come up my ramp. I can see if they're pulling off that kind of cheese. So this is pretty cool. I like doing this against a Protoss player. Against a Zerg or a Terran player, I would play standard and put my pylon close to the nexus. I would put my gateway here. You can see this is a very standard sort of build that csalas is doing right now. 15 gas, I think, and maybe an 18 for the second. Other than that, ooh, here's something a little unstandard. He's sending, how many probes is that? That looks like 5 probes he's sending after my 1 probe. Now that is not a good move. Reason being is because these probes could be mining right now. They could be making money. Instead of making money, they are trying to kill my probe, and they're not gonna be able to do that. I'm kind of surprised that that csalas did that. We are top gold players, so I used to actually be a top platinum player, but I stopped playing for a bit, and so ranking went down, and I think they recently just changed the ladder, so now your ranking stays at what your ranking is, so you basically never go down in ladder, and so they just make it so you're really far or lower on the ladder than you were, something like that. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, something like that. And this is interesting. csalas is doing a mothership core first, followed by a couple more gateways. Myself, I am doing a couple more gateways here, and I think my tech was, oh, there's my tech right here. Robo. I love going Robo. It's like the way to go, just so I can get my observer out, so I can get immortal out, and just overall have a good, I can play a good turtle toss. Turtle toss, I'm not going to go out and I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm not going to go for a fast sort of oracle rush or anything like that. I'm just going to play a long standard game. But I'll still be aggressive, and if my opponent messes up, I might win an early game. That's just how I like to play. So this is kind of cool. His mothership cores attack my probes. The only thing I got to fight his mothership core is this sentry. What wins in a fight, a sentry or a mothership core? Well, csalas thinks that the sentry will beat it, so and actually it's possible. I don't know which one's better. Looks like the attack, it's a 40-40 unit versus a 60-130, so mothership core is a lot more 60, yeah, some more health basically, but I think the sentry pulls off enough damage to counter it. But here's the main move from csalas. Looks like a 4-gate mothership. Yep, 4-gate mothership. And so how do I react? Well, I got my sentry here, I've got my stalker, I've got my zealot, and I got my immortal. So here's my army. Here is csalas' army. Now you might be thinking, holy crap, csalas is gonna just destroy Alakard myself. But you'll just have to watch and see if he does or not. So yeah, that's a big army, and just took out my powered up pylon. So now my gateway's not powered up. I cut his forces off with the wall off from the force field. Take out the mothership core. csalas is just making a bunch of units. You can see here csalas has a total of what appears to be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 units, and I've got 2, 3, only 6 units. Force field the forces off, but I've got immortals. These things are beast. You can just see how awesome immortals are just by this fight alone. The zealot doing a lot of damage to my immortal. So if you want to counter an immortal, just make a bunch of zealots. But yeah, you just saw that. It was these things can kill. 1 kill, 4 kills. Yeah, this guy killed 4 guys by himself, and then 1 kill. And I pretty much lost nothing. I mean, you look at my resources lost here. I've lost 250. My opponent's lost 1,400 resources. That's huge this early game. And now my opponent's trying to expand. And myself, well, I'm just going to wait for my next immortal and push out. And actually, I think I push out a little before that so I can get a head start on it. Population 62 to 42, so csalas is in a very tough position right now. Not only is he down by unit count, but he's down by tech. He doesn't have tech since he did a 4-gate. Now this is considered to be cheese, at least. Yeah, no, this is cheese because he's not trying to play the standard. He's going with what do you call it? An unorthodox play, I guess. Is that what cheese is? Just like an all-in, because there's no way you can transition out of this, at least not safely, unless I just decide to not be aggressive. I mean, you could put some sentries here. I'm surprised he doesn't make sentries. You could force field me out. He could use his mothership core, use a photon overcharge, you know. But he didn't make a single sentry right here. He's putting a cannon here. By the time that finishes, my army will be. You'll see. I don't want to give away too much here. But anyways, here I go. I'm attacking a little bit. I'm like, oh, that's a lot of stalkers. Back up. And I brought this probe with because I was going to make a pylon, but instead it just followed and died. Should have had better control on that. Made a nice guardian shield for my army to absorb a lot of the incoming fire shots. This is why sentries are so good to have in your unit composition early game. Because you see how much damage they absorbed with that Guardian Shield? It was quite a bit. On top of that, I've got 3 Immortals. That's huge. He's using Photon Overcharge, but you can see it takes forever for it to kill a unit. And by the time it kills a unit, I get up here, and now I can unpower his buildings and just wreak havoc. So yeah, that was the game. Yeah, if you're playing Protoss, try not to 4-gate unless you're playing lower league like silver or bronze. Also, don't send like 4 or 5 probes after 1 probe. If anything, just send 1 probe after it in case your opponent decides to put a hidden pylon nearby or something like that. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something here, and as always, have fun and go conquer some worlds. Woo! All spaghetti.